This presentation is brought to you by Richard Stewart at REO Specialists, LLC. For a free list of Michigan foreclosures and HUD homes, visit www.reomama.com. That's REOMAMMA.com. Welcome to Sage Acquisitions, asset management company contracted by HUD to manage the HUD sales process in 26 states and U.S. territories. Areas defined as 7A, 8A, 4A, 1D, 1P, 3P, and 5P. Sage Acquisitions reaches out to real estate professionals across the nation with the goal of moving HUD homes. Class objectives: Intro to HUD, Showing and Advertising, Bidding Processes, HUD Contract Package, Under Contract Properties, and Closings. Our goal is to gain a full understanding of the HUD sales process and increase successful sales. Section 1. Intro to HUD. Dynamics of HUD M&M 3.7 sales process. Starts with the HUD Home Ownership Center, the Mortgagee Compliance Manager, MCM, Field Services Manager, FSM, Asset Manager, Sage, one per state, and Local Listing Broker Network. The Property Flowchart, QC. The mortgagee initiates the FHA claim and the initial conveyance to HUD. The MCM receives the property and ensures condition and marketability. QC, reject the property. FSM, inspect, safe, secure, and marketable. The QC to the MCM, if issues, reject the property. AM, markets and ensures marketable condition. QC to FSM, if issues, reject the property. Mortgagee Compliance Manager, MCM, one nationwide contractor, Information Systems Network Incorporated, ISN, based out of Oklahoma City, performs a variety of pre- and post-conveyance services to ensure that HUD's interests are protected. Conveyance condition, guidance to mortgagees regarding claims and conveyance, ensure marketable title. Field Services Manager, FSM, one contract per state. Identify your FSM on the Contracts tab on each property at www.hudhomestore.com or quick link at www.sageacq.com. FSM provides property maintenance and preservation services consisting of inspecting the property, securing the property, performing cosmetic enhancements and repairs, and providing ongoing maintenance. Asset Manager, AM. The AM manages and markets sales processes and properties, ensures accurately and competitively valued, makes sure sales achieve highest net return, minimize holding time, handles closing and accounting of funds, takes customer service and satisfaction. The Asset Manager Regions. Region 7A, Georgia. Region 8A, Florida, Puerto Rico, and U.S. Virgin Islands. Region 4A, Indiana and Kentucky. Region 1D, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and North Texas. Region 1P, Michigan. Region 3P, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, and New Jersey. Region 4P, Ohio. Region 5P, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and West Virginia. The Property Flowchart, QC. HUD, Sage contracts local listing brokers to provide full listing services on HUD homes. The LLB responsibilities: list on MLS, most appropriate and mainstream MLS for the area, place sign in yard, provides routine inspections and reports, customer service and information resource on HUD listings and a HUD sales process, provide wide market exposure of the HUD sales process and the properties, and delivers EM check to close agent upon contract execution. HUD selling agents. Selling agents play a critical role in the success of HUD sales program. Keep your eyes and ears open. We want to hear from you. NAID registration. Any licensed real estate agent can sell HUD homes. Brokerages, not individual selling agents, that actually register with HUD. When a brokerage registers with HUD, the brokerage will receive an NAID number, which will be used by all agents in that brokerage. To become registered, your principal broker will need to complete the broker registration package. Important: NAID package sent to the Regional Home Ownership Center. Accuracy is extremely important. The process takes 6 to 8 weeks, and you must renew annually. Expectations for agents. Quality in all work and all aspects of working with HUD in this process. Professionalism when interacting with the buying public, other selling agents, and everyone in every aspect involved in the HUD selling process. Communication with not only buyers and those involved with your transaction, but also with the Sage team to express concerns or suggestions or ideas that become evident to you as you work in the field and become involved in HUD selling. Motivation to make the sales and move HUD properties. Teamwork as a real estate community and with Sage to work toward the continued betterment of the HUD sales process and ensure that the HUD process is always operating as successfully as possible. What is a HUD home? Not low-end housing. The definition is a 1 to 4 unit single-family residence acquired as a result of a foreclosure on an FHA-insured mortgage. Offered for sale at fair market value based on recent appraisal. Vary in price, location, and condition. HUD homes for sale throughout the state. Some are move-in ready, others are not. They're sold as is. Understanding as is. No warranties, guarantees, or representations about the property, FHA insurable or otherwise. No repairs. The exception: safe, secure, and marketable. Buyers are allowed and encouraged to get independent home inspections. Buyers do not typically acquire bills or liens. Who can buy a HUD home? Anyone. Buyers will fall into one of 3 categories: owner-occupants, investors, or government agencies and HUD-approved nonprofit organizations. Buyer types. Owner-occupants, giving priority during certain cycles, must occupy the house for 1 year, cannot participate in HUD sales for 2 years after purchase. Investors, no restriction on quantity, differing bidding cycle than owner-occupants. HUD special programs. Properties eligible for the HUD special programs will list to a lottery round before they are listed for sale to the general public. 2 types of lottery round eligible bidders: GNND and HUD-approved nonprofit government agency. Information on becoming a HUD-approved nonprofit organization is at HUD.gov. GNND eligibility will be indicated on the listing. Good Neighbor Next Door. Designed to enhance communities by offering discounts on HUD homes to firefighters, EMTs, police, and teachers. 50% off the property list price. $100 down payment. Requirements: property must be located in the designated revitalization area. Buyer must live in the home for at least 36 months. Buyer nor spouse may have owned title to property in the last 12 months. Bidder nor spouse cannot have ever before participated in GNND program. Additional GNND notes. Must bid 100% of the listing price. The amount of the earnest money deposit required is an amount equal to 1% of the list price, but no less than $500 and no more than $2,000. Can utilize any type of financing or cash deal. FHA financing on GNND. Must qualify for entire contract amount prior to discount. Can finance into the mortgage all reasonable and customary closing costs, including prepaids and real estate commissions. HUD will not pay any closing costs or real estate commissions. NSP First Look. Congress created the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, NSP, to help cities, counties, and states deal with the community problems that are the result of mortgage foreclosure crisis in the nation. The goal of the Neighborhood Stabilization Program is to stabilize communities hardest hit by the foreclosures and delinquencies. To meet that end, HUD CPD provides funding to states, insular areas, units of general local government, nonprofits, and consortiums. In an effort to increase the availability of residential housing, guarantees must utilize NSP funds for one of the NSP eligible uses, which include acquisition, rehabilitation, demolition, land banking of abandoned, foreclosed, or blighted properties. The Federal Housing Administration, FHA, First Look sales method provides NSP guarantees and subrecipients exclusive access to review and purchase newly conveyed FHA real estate owned properties that are located in their NSP designated areas. Under First Look, eligible NSP purchasers have the opportunity to make a purchase offer on any first. HUD's home ownership incentives. $100 down. Available to the owner-occupant buyers who purchase a HUD home with FHA financing in the Atlanta home ownership central areas. Indicate on line 4. Lender, MCAW form. The buyer must meet credit and income requirements. Buyer still responsible for earnest money deposit. Get connected. Resources for agents. SageACQ.com has a calendar of events, updates, registration, forms, etc. Other important sites. HUD.gov, National Resource for HUD Information. HUDHomestore.com has HUD listings. Social media networks. Networking, news, updates, featured listings, featured info. Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Sage Buyer Outreach events. Let's look at SageACQ.com to learn about news and announcements, training and events calendar, social media networks, autofill contracts, and additional contract forms. Let's look at HUDHomestore.com to learn about becoming HUD registered, signing up for a selling agent account. Section 2. Showing and Advertising. Showing and advertising HUD homes. All registered selling agents can show and advertise any available HUD property. Must adhere to advertising showing guidelines. Noncompliance could result in your brokerage's NAID number being suspended. Report non-compliance to Sage Acquisition's Customer Service Department for further investigation. Advertising regulations. Do advertise HUD homes in a professional and ethical manner. Do not destroy, damage, or remove the advertising, including signage of another HUD registered selling or listing agent for any HUD property. Do not state or imply the price of the property differs from the list price shown on HUDHomestore.com. Do not imply exclusivity. The HUD home sales process is an open selling process. Be positive and proactive in your HUD home advertising. Get creative. Refer to HUD homes as HUD owned, HUD acquired, or simply for sale. Do not refer to or advertise properties as distressed, foreclosed, government, must sell, or repossessed, or any other adjectives with notable negative connotation. Do not place signage in a HUD property's yard. Only the LLB can do so. Agents can use directionals but do not abuse this right. Limit directionals to an appropriate number. Excessive use of directionals will be handled on a per-case basis at the discretion of Sage Acquisitions. Always include the Equal Housing Opportunity logo. Always include a HUD home disclosure and link to the HUD listing site on HUDHomestore.com and SageACQ.com for more information. Note any floodplain zones or other warning information as it appears on the property's internet listing, if applicable. Always adhere to federal, state, county, city, and real estate commission advertising regulations as well as compliance with the Truth in Lending Act when advertising HUD properties, including but not limited to blind advertising, regulations regarding directionals, etc. Showing guidelines. You must sign the sign-in sheet. No open houses. The exception, listing brokers may hold an open house on their listing only. Always secure the property when leaving and return the key to the lockbox. Accessing HUD homes. HUD properties are equipped with an electronic lockbox or a combo lockbox. To gain access, find the lockbox code on the area's MLS or by contacting the local listing broker for the property. Fair housing. It is HUD's mission to increase home ownership, support community development, and increase access to affordable housing free from discrimination. Please review details in the handbook. Areas of illegal discrimination: race, color, religion, national origin, sex, handicap, mental or physical, or familial status. Section 3. Bidding on HUD Homes. Creating a bidder account. It's easy and free. HUDHomestore.com. You register as a bidder in the top right corner. You will need your brokerage active NAID number to set up this account. You will log into this account later when you begin the bidding process. Finding properties. Unlisted properties owned by HUD. SageACQ.com. The HUD Home Store link. Search field on the first page. You input the address and view property contacts. When available for sale, local listing broker sign in the yard. The listing on the MLS. SageACQ.com provides a link to HUD Home Store. Recommended method for searching for HUD Homes. Free public access website. Listing codes. Some online listings are accompanied with codes representing the financial options and/or property conditions of the property for sale. IN, UI, HOA, F, LBP, IE. Property condition codes. The code is F. It indicates a flood zone, meaning that property is located in an area where coverage under the National Flood Insurance Program may be required to obtain a loan. It has the code HOA that indicates Homeowners Association, which means that the property is covered by a homeowners association, which would most likely require HOA fees and dues to be paid by the home occupant. If the code is LBP, it indicates lead-based paint, which means that the property was built before 1978 and may contain lead-based paint. LBP addendum form must accompany the sales contract. LBP stabilization. HUD will fund up to $4,000. For stabilization exceeding $4,000, HUD will, at their sole discretion, cancel the sales contract and buyer receives 100% EM back, allowed to change financing to 203K conventional or 203K streamline, only if less than $5,000. Review the LBP addendum with, if applicable, buyer before placing a bid. Get familiar with FHA. Financing codes. If the code is IN, it indicates insurable, which means the property meets FHA 203B financing requirements. No obvious repairs necessary to insure an FHA loan to buyer. IE. It indicates insurable with escrow, which means the property eligible for a 203B FHA loan. Necessary repairs total less than $5,000. The code is UI. It indicates uninsurable, which means that the property requires more extensive repairs after the close of the escrow. It is not eligible for FHA mortgage insurance in the property's as-is condition. Insurable with escrow, i.e. repair escrow only applies to FHA 203B financing, not a gift from HUD. Added to the mortgage, the sales price remains the same. List of required repairs, lender responsible for repairs, licensed contractor, and determining repair amounts. No repairs prior to closing. Bidding periods. Properties will list daily. Lottery properties included in the special programs, general market listings, all other properties, sealed bidding or exclusive bidding. Bids will accumulate over the entire length of the bidding period and will be reviewed the day after the closing of this period. Daily bidding or extended bidding. Individual 24-hour bidding periods. Lottery round listings. Before general market, 7 days. It's only for government agencies, nonprofits, and GNND buyers. General market listings. Insured and insured with repair escrow. 15 days owner-occupant exclusive. 10 days accumulated sealed bidding. 5 days daily bidding. And all bidders are allowed on day 16. Uninsured. 5 days owner-occupant exclusive sealed bidding. All bidders allowed on day 6. Let's look at HUDHomestore.com to learn about how to search for properties, PCR, property condition report, virtual tours, bid deadlines, and property contacts. The HUD home bidding process. HUD homes are sold via an online electronic bidding process, the only way to buy a HUD home. In promotion of home ownership, buyers who are bidding as an owner-occupant receive priority for a given amount of time. Agents must submit bids on a buyer's behalf. Complete the sales contract package with your buyer before you bid. The buyer's signature is your permission to place a bid on their behalf. If offer is accepted, you only have 2 business days to submit the entire contract package to Sage Acquisitions. Copy of the earnest money, pre-qual, etc. Submitting a bid. Bids will be submitted online. The information entered on the bid submission page will become the first page of the sales contract. The bid lines. Line 3, offer price. Line 4, type of financing. Line 5, the closing costs. Line 6, agent commission. Line 7, net to HUD. Line 8, buyer type. Closing cost. Line 5, HUD will allow up to 3% of the purchase price of the property to go toward closing costs and closing agent fees. The buyer is responsible for closing agent fees that are not included in the bid. The buyer is responsible for closing costs if there is an insufficiency of funds to go toward the closing agent fees. Enter this numeric figure, not percentage, on line 5. Commission, line 6A. HUD will allow up to 3% of the purchase price of the property to go toward agent commission. Line 6B will populate 3% for the listing broker commission. Remember, lines 5 and 6A affect the net to HUD. Closing costs and prepaids auto-pay by HUD. Proration of property taxes and any special assessments such as Homeowners Association HOA fees and utility bills. Condominium or HOA transfer fee if applicable. Cost to provide condominium documents to purchaser if paid in advance and seek prior approval to ensure reimbursement. $200 repair escrow hold fee if applicable. Recording fees for the grant deed only. Minimum commission. Minimum commission amount is $1,000. The minimum commission will apply when the property is labeled hard to sell. Regular HUD commission will apply on all other sales. Important. Remember, price is the indicator. If HUDHomestore.com has incorrectly marked a listing as eligible or ineligible for the appropriate commission, make sure to contact the asset manager before placing a bid. Once a bid is awarded, cannot change the commission. Additional notes about bidding. Bids can be submitted 24/7, but are not reviewed on federal holidays or weekends. Bids submitted on Friday will be reviewed on Monday, unless Monday is a federal holiday, then Tuesday. Daily bid deadline is 11:59 p.m. CST. No time preference in bidding. A buyer may only submit 1 bid per property during the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday time frame if those days all fall inside the same bidding period. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday bids are considered in the same bidding group. Holiday bids are grouped with the previous day's bids. Winning bids selected automatically by HUD system. If Sage receives 2 acceptable bids which are the exact same amount, we will select the winner by randomized electronic drawing. If you place a bid you wish to withdraw, you must cancel this bid prior to the day's bid deadline. Submitting a bid. Review your bid and confirm to submit. Bidding confirmation number will be provided. Right on the right-hand corner of the sales contract. Sage's intuitive autofill contract available. SageACQ.com, Forms tab. Bid cancellations. Listing broker will be copied on emails regarding prelim bid on cancels. Reasons for canceling. Failure to remit contract. Failure to submit an accurate contract package. EM will be returned to the selling agent by the listing broker. Agent buyer cancels voluntarily. Bid cancellation form sent to selling agent by Sage to be submitted to the listing broker for release of funds. Check bid results. On the bid deadline day, all offers are reviewed and then accepted, rejected, or counteroffered. Sage will notify you via email if your bid is accepted, and the information will be posted on HUD Home Store along with any backup offers that may be acceptable. Email notification comes from sage.notifications@sageacq.com. The LOB will also contact you with specific information for submitting your contract, earnest money, and buyer select closing agents. Counteroffers. All offers within an acceptable range of the threshold will be countered with a final acceptance net to HUD. Because your bid may not be the only offer countered, please respond with your best offer. Do not counter with a counter. Section 4. HUD Contract Package. The HUD Sales Contract Package. Electronic HUD 9548 Sales Contract Condition of Sale. Note that the sales contract for a HUD sale is a unique contract different from the standard state-specific real estate contract. Electronic filing of HUD 9548 Contract Addendum. Owner-occupant certification, if applicable. For your protection, get a home inspection. Radon gas and mold notice. Lender letter of commitment, pre-qualification letter. Forfeiture and extension policy. Lead-based paint addendum, if applicable. Flood zone addendum, if applicable. BSCA addendum. Copy of earnest money, the check submitted to LLB. Sage Contract Autofill Software. The best way to ensure that your contract will be error-free every time, go to sageacq.com and click on the Forms tab. Click the appropriate necessary contract package. Note, any addendums to the contract that do not apply to your area or type of contract can be disregarded. The HUD Sales Contract Package. Complete the contract and collect all documents and signatures before placing a bid. This ensures contract package is on time and accurate and acts as buyer's permission to place a bid on their behalf. Completing the BSCA addendum. Please type the form. Illegible forms will be rejected. Verify the complete company name and full mailing address. Address errors will be rejected. Multiple offices. Each office needs its own title ID. Verify email address. All Sage correspondence will go to this email address, including the initial contract package. Attach E&O insurance, $1 million policy. Attach license to close transaction in that state. The attorney state, bar license. Title state, state regulatory agency license. Remember, contracts cannot be executed until an accurate BSCA addendum is received and the title ID assigned. The BSCA must have a title ID to answer yes to the question, have you ever closed a HUD-owned property? Third-party closings under previous HUD-designated closing agents do not count. Previous HUD-designated closing agents must now apply for this title ID as well. Earnest money. Deposit amounts, certified funds only, $500 for sales price under $5,000, $1,000 for sale prices $5,001 and up. The selling agent will be responsible for delivering earnest money on awarded bids to the listing broker. The listing broker will only accept certified funds and will verify the correct amount of earnest money and name of the payee. The payee will always be the closing agent. The listing broker will ensure that the earnest money is remitted within 2 business days of the contract execution by Sage to the closing agent. May be entirely or partially forfeited or refunded if contract fails to close. Specifics outlined in the forfeiture and extension policy. Avoid common errors. Social Security numbers. The buyer's name must match exactly on lines 1, 2, and 13. After the contract bid submission prints out, all signatures must be in blue ink. Initials on line 12 acknowledge the earnest money policy. Remember, you cannot use whiteout or liquid paper on any contractual documents. Corrections required by Sage may mean writing a new sales contract, a new pre-qual letter, obtaining your buyer's signatures again. Make every effort to submit your contract correctly the first time. Submitting the contract for a winning bid. Upon receipt of a bid award confirmation from Sage, the listing broker will contact the selling agent and provide specific instructions on contract completion, earnest money remittance, buyer select closing agents. Ensure the entire package is received at Sage's office within 2 days of the notification. Hand deliver or overnight mail the package. Sage will sign off on the contract and forward it via email to you and the closing attorney. The ratified contract date is the contract's official acceptance date. Accepted offer contracts. For Atlanta, Sage Acquisitions, 7000 Central Parkway, Suite 800, Atlanta, Georgia, 30328. Attention, contracts. For Denver, Sage Acquisitions, 4500 Cherry Creek South Drive, Suite 410, Glendale, Colorado, 80246. Attention, contracts. Philadelphia, Sage Acquisitions, 1515 Market Street, Suite 1720, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19102. Attention, contracts. Delivery confirmation and tracking is recommended. Contract corrections. 2 calendar days to return corrected contract. May require a new contract package. The contract will be canceled or awarded to the next highest bidder if the contract is returned still containing errors. Submitting corrections or amendments. Approved to begin accepting contract corrections, revisions, and amendments via email. SageACQ.com. The forms tab, add or remove purchaser, change of financing, contract corrections, corrections to buyer's name, address, or vesting. These amendments are not valid unless approved in writing by both seller and purchasers. Only Sage is able to modify terms of contract and process any changes to the contract. Amendment information. Change financing from 203K to any other method of financing or cash. Contract loses 15 days. Retroactive, so the contract may now become expired due to this reduction, and an extension will need to be filed. Support the extension with evidence of ability to close so it can be approved. Fees may not be waived. Buyer will be responsible for reimbursing HUD for completed termite and LBP inspections and stabilization. Change financing from other cash to any other type of FHA. LBP and termite must now be ordered. Termite 5 to 7 business days for inspection. If WDO found, additional time necessary for treatment and clearance. LBP inspection 7 to 10 business days for inspection. If hazard found, additional time for abatement and final clearance. Change financing from FHA to non-FHA transaction. The cost of LBP and termite is now absorbed by the buyer. Will be included on the HUD 1 at closing. WDO averages 100 just for inspection. LBP averages 700 for just inspection. Any treatment of abatement will add additional costs. Changing financing on properties built prior to 1978. Must submit LBP addendum with amendment that reflects the financing change. If changing to 203K, must submit the 203K financing LBP addendum in addition to the standard LBP addendum. Address changes, name changes. Not necessarily a quick fix and will not be done the day of closing. Address changes require research and must be verified before approved. May reveal bigger issues that delay or prevent the sale, so please be patient. Escrow changes. Repair escrows is the sole discretion of the lender. Increases and decreases permissible at lender's request. Contract is executed with TBD to prevent a need for multiple amendments. If lender requires an actual number and not TBD, Sage will be happy to accommodate. Send requests to atlanta.amendment@sageacq.com, denver.amendment@sageacq.com, or philadelphia.amendment@sageacq.com. Buyer type changes. Not always approved. Based on bidding cycles and if the change is permissible. Remember, amendments take 72 hours to process. Amendments will not be executed the day of closing, and failure to follow the above-mentioned rules may result in a delayed or rescheduled closing. BSCA amendment changes. Important. Line 9 must accurately reflect the office closing the transaction. Do not wait until closing to do this. The sooner, the better. Amendments for BSCA changes. What do I do if the buyer changes their BSCA? Submit an addendum reflecting the new BSCA on lines 3 and 9. Submit a new BSCA addendum. Submit a license and E&O for the new BSCA. Submit a copy of the new EM made payable to the new BSCA to Sage. Submit an original EM funds to the listing broker. All items must be received prior to processing. Once approved, the LOB will be advised and to remit the EM to the new BSCA, and the old BSA will be advised to release the funds. Section 5. Under contract properties. Home inspections. Optional, but highly recommended. 15-day due diligence period. Owner occupants. The buyer will be allowed to get a home inspection anytime during this process. Must have FSM authorize your home inspection. Cannot begin process until contract signed. 72 hours to complete home inspection after the last utility is turned on. Must turn off utilities after the inspection. Termite letters. Stipulations for HUD to provide a termites and WDO letter. State or zone mandated FHA financing. Must meet either of the above conditions. HUD will fund treatment and repairs. If the property does not meet the above conditions, the buyer can have inspection performed at any time at their own cost if their contract is accepted. The buyer will be responsible for treatment and repairs. LBP stabilization. Stipulations for HUD to complete the LBP assessment. Built before 1978, owner-occupant, and FHA financing. Must meet all of the above conditions. Request made to FSM for inspection through AM via P260 at contract execution. HUD will fund up to $4,000. For stabilization exceeding $4,000, HUD will, at their sole discretion, cancel the sales contract and buyer receives 100% EM back. Allow the change financing to 203K conventional or 203K streamline only if less than $5,000. LBP and WDO. To inquire about the status of or receive a copy of the applicable reports, email atlanta.lbpwdo@sageacq.com or denver.lbpwdo@sageacq.com or philadelphia.lbpwdo@sageacq.com. Under contract vandalism. Download the form, complete an email to atlanta.vandalism@sageacq.com, denver.vandalism@sageacq.com, or philadelphia.vandalism@sageacq.com. Options for moving forward toward closing, postponing closing, and extension fees. Remember, buyers cannot move in or start repairs prior to closing. Selling agents must accompany the buyers, inspectors, etc. to HUD properties at all times prior to closing. Pre-closing activities. The closing agent establishes a closing file immediately upon receipt of a complete contract package from Sage. A complete contract package includes signed sales purchase contract, HUD 9548, with any addendums and amendments. Earnest money, certified funds only, cashier's check, or money order. The closing agent requests all HOA fees, taxes, utilities, and any other demands. The closing agent forwards all applicable demands with supporting documents to Sage for approval. Demands remitted no later than 10 days prior to closing to ensure timely payment and approval. Remitted to compliance specialist name on executed contract email. BSCA's responsibility for timely submission of bills to compliance specialist. Fees requiring payment in advance of closing. The closing agent, selling agent cannot pay fees for, including but not limited to, paid assessment letters, deed, or transfer stamps without prior approval from Sage. Reimbursement on the HUD-1 out of the seller proceeds for payment of these fees will not occur without prior approval from Sage. Send requests with supporting documents to Sage. Approval to pay and seek reimbursement on the HUD-1 will be sent back to remitter via email within 48 hours. Reimbursement will not occur if the file fails to close. The closing agent shall process and handle any and all loan documents the lender requires for a customary HUD closing. To ensure there are no delays, the closing agent shall provide timely processing and delivery of the signed loan documents to the lender. Please be notified in some instances a sale may be canceled by HUD and/or Sage due to title issues. In these instances, the purchaser will not be reimbursed for fees incurred prior to the cancellation. Section 6. Closings. The closing timeline. FHA or conventional closes 45 days from the contract acceptance. Cash closing closes 30 days from a contract acceptance, and 203K closing closes 60 days from the contract acceptance. Extensions. If the property sales cost is $0 to $25,000, there's a $10 per day fee with a 15-day increment time frame. The total extension fee to the buyer is $150. If the property sales cost is $25,001 to $50,000, there's a $15 per day fee with a time frame of 15-day increments with a total extension fee to the buyer of $225. If the property sales cost is over $50,000, there's a $25 per day fee with a 15-day increment time frame and a total extension fee to the buyer of $375. Extensions are purchased and granted in 15-day packages. If the contract closes prior to the use of all 15 days, the remaining per day fee will be prorated to the buyer and refunded by the escrow. Must be submitted in the form of certified funds. Fee and request form must be submitted to Sage 5 days prior to expiration. Hard copies must be remitted with the fee to Sage's office. The fee must be made payable to HUD. Must include supporting documentation including current lender letter or proof of cash funds and extension fee. Extension email is atlanta.extension@sageacq.com or denver.extension@sageacq.com or philadelphia.extension@sageacq.com. Sage will return via email the executed extension form indicating approved or denied to the selling agent. Waive fees available. Delays by HUD, Sage, or FSM. Owner-occupants will be granted one free extension when there has been a delay with financing and all other buyer documents have been submitted timely. 2 free extensions will be granted in 15-day increments for 203K loans. A buyer will not be reimbursed for lender lock rate extensions regardless of the cause of delay. All extensions are subject to approval by Sage. Canceling the contract. If you are made aware that a purchaser is not going to close, please contact Sage ASAP. Do not let the contract just cancel on its own. Use the contract release and earnest money disposition request forms from our website to initiate contract cancellation processes, accompanied with the necessary documentation to request a refund. Atlanta.cancellation@sageacq.com or Denver.cancellation@sageacq.com or Philadelphia.cancellation@sageacq.com. An email will be sent to the selling agent and listing broker in the BSCA with the determination of release of earnest money. Failure to submit a cancellation will result in automatic forfeiture of earnest money. It's important to submit these forms prior to expiration of the sales contract. The pre-closing walkthrough. Recommended that you complete the day prior to or the day of closing. The lockbox removed, coordinate with the LLB to retrieve the key from the buyer. If there are issues, vandalism, etc., contact Sage ASAP. Closing will be postponed to attend to the issues. The extension fee is waived. Closing protocol. Closing documents need to be uploaded to the P260 portal for Sage's review 5 days prior to closing. Exceptions to the 5-day rule are reviewed on a case-by-case basis. When approved, Sage will return the documents to the closing agent electronically. 2 business days after closing has occurred, a final post-closing package is due to Sage by the closing agent. The buyer can now have utilities activated for permanent use and occupy the premises. The selling agent and listing broker coordinates to ensure buyer is able to gain access to the property. The buyer must have locks rekeyed post-closing at their expense. The post-closing timeline. The closing agent performs all necessary post-closing activities, including, but not limited to, those outlined to ensure HUD is able to accurately and timely reconcile the closing. The closing agent must retain copies to verify the completion of each task. Day of closing. Closing agent updates P260 with actual closing date to confirm the closing. No later than 1 business day after closing. Net proceeds wired to the U.S. Treasury via feed wire using the HUD form SAMS 1103 and wire information provided by Sage at the time of contract execution. Delivery of the deed for legal recordation in the appropriate county and provide written verification to the taxing authority and HOA. Post-closing. 2 business days after closing has occurred, a final post-closing package is due Sage and must include the final HUD 1 and all signed certifications, evidence that the deed was delivered for recordation or a recorded copy of the blank fully executed transfer of proceeds, wire confirmation, copy of all applicable invoices or receipts or disbursements, copy of the disbursement log accounting for all incoming and outgoing funds related to the transaction. A physical copy must be mailed to Sage, and an image copy must be emailed to Sage. Good Neighbor Next Door, GNND closings. The final closing package for GNND closings must also include the following documents: original note, copy of the mortgage with evidence that it was delivered for recording, and copy of the recorded mortgage when available. Thank you for attending. This presentation is brought to you by Richard Stewart at REO Specialists, LLC. For a free list of Michigan foreclosures and HUD homes, visit www.reomama.com. That's REOMAMMA.com.